Alright guys, so now we're going to jump back into our HTML and we're going to add the three boxes. When what I mean is this right here, this location, meals, and fitness room, these features. Okay, so I'm going to give this a section with the ID of features, and then each one is going to be a div, and I'm going to give it a class of box, and we're going to style those boxes. So let's go down below our last section, which was the home info. And again, if you watch me build websites and themes, this is, like I said, I usually have a header and then I'll build on each section. And if you take my Bootstrap Bootstrap course on Udemy, I do the same exact thing. It doesn't matter if I'm using a framework or if I'm using just HTML5. So let's do section, and let's give this an ID of features. Okay, and within this features section, we're going to have three boxes. So I'm actually going to do, let's do dot box, and let's use our Emmet trick of doing asterisk 3, enter a tab, and it'll give us three divs with the class of box. So inside here, we're going to have the icon. I'm going to get to that after. So let's just skip the icon for now, and let's do an H3, and let's say great location. And then we're going to have a paragraph, which is going to have, I believe, 10 words. Let's do lorem 10, like that. And then we want the same thing inside these two boxes. So we'll paste that in there and there. And let's just change the heading for the second one to free meals. And then this third one is going to be fitness room. Okay, so just a list of what the amenities, the features, and we'll save that. Let's go down. So it's going to look like this by default. Now before we get to the CSS, let's add the icons. Now these icons come from Font Awesome. So if we go to fontawesome.com and go to start using free, it's going to give us a link tag that goes to this all.css style sheet, which allows us to use those fonts. So we just want to double click this and copy it. So I'm going to Control C, and then let's paste it up top here above our link. So Control V, we'll paste that in. And now, since we have this included, we can use certain classes that will give us certain icons. Now, the Font Awesome website allows us to search for icons. So building, I actually want to search for hotel. And it's going to give us some results. Now, there is a pro version to Font Awesome. I believe it's like $50 a year. I'm not sure. I don't have the pro subscription. But usually the first one, see how there's 3 hotels, 3 H squares. Usually the first one is free. And then these ones, as you can see, have the little pro icon. So we want this first one, this first hotel. I'm going to click on it. And what we want to look at here, it shows us the icon, different sizes and stuff. But what we want to look at is this tag, this I tag with this class. And you're going to have two classes. You're going to have one that's just the Font Awesome class, and then you have one that is the actual what the icon is. In this case, it's the hotel. So we can actually just click it and it copies it for us. And then we can go back into our HTML. Let's go right above this H3 and paste that in. Let's bring that over and we'll save it. And let's go back to our page here, and notice now we have a little hotel icon. Now this is too small. We could change the font size. After all, it is a font, but there's actually classes that we can use to change the size. So if we add in a class here of FA-3X, okay, so you have 2x to 5x, I believe, and it will change. It'll basically be 3 times as big. So let's save it and go back, and now we have a much bigger icon. Okay, so the other icons we want, I'm just going to copy this I tag here, and we're going to paste one in right above free meals. This one is called FA utensils. Okay, so if we went and searched for whatever food, it'll show us the utensils icon. And then this one here is FA-dumbbell. Okay, let's save that and take a look, and now we have our 3 icons. So that's it for the HTML for this part. Now let's style it. So we're going to go to Style CSS, And let's go down to the bottom here. So we want to do our features section, which is basically just the box, or we could do a I'm trying to think if we're going to use these boxes anywhere else. I don't think so. I mean, you could use the box as a utility class if you were going to use them. Actually, yeah, let's just do .box in case we use them somewhere else. So each box we're going to float left, okay? Even though, you know, they're all going to be in a row, it's not like a left and a right. We want them all to float left, just like we do with the menu items, with the list items. It'll make them go horizontal. And then the width we're going to set to 33.3%, okay? Because we want them to all be even, and there's 3 of them. And then for padding, let's do 50 pixels. And since we have border box up here as a value for box sizing, since we put that there, this padding will not get added to the width. If you don't put the border box, then it's going to get added and it's not going to look right. Okay, and then the last thing is I just want to align everything to the center. So text align center. And let's save that and take a look. Good, so now everything is aligned horizontally. I do want to add a margin bottom to the actual I tag, to the icon. So let's say .box I, and let's say margin dash bottom 10 pixels. Okay, now for the background, now remember we have those utility classes, the BG classes. So instead of coloring, you know, adding box or whatever, we're going to grab onto those classes and put them in our HTML. So this first div with the class of box, I want it to have a light background, so I'm going to add BG light, and we've already added the style for these. The second one is going to be BG dash primary, because we want it to be that tan color. And then the last one again is BG dash light. And save. Okay, so it looks like I made a mistake earlier. I think I put the color as tan here for BG primary, where it should be on the background, not the color. So let's head back up to BG primary. And where is it? Yep, right here, BG primary. So the background should be this, not that. And then, let's see, the color should be that, I believe, or is the color white? Let me check. No, that's right. But let's just move background to the top like that. All right, so let's save. And now the background is the color, not the actual text. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now we want to do the footer. So let's head back to our HTML. And remember, we have a semantic HTML5 footer tag. So right under this section, let's do footer. And I'm actually going to give it an ID of main footer. And the reason for this is because you can have footers in other places. It doesn't have to mean a website footer, like a page footer. It could be a footer to, let's say, an article. Maybe you have articles where you have a header, and then you have a footer at the bottom with maybe the author's name and stuff like that. So you don't always have to think of headers and footers as page headers and footers. So let's put a paragraph in here, and let's just say hotel BT. Let's do our copyright entity, so ampersand copy semicolon. We'll do 2019, all rights reserved. Okay, let's save that. So by default, it's going to look like this. We need to add a little bit of styling. So we'll go back to our style sheet and let's grab onto the main footer. Let's say, put a comment in here, and we'll say main dash footer. And first of all, I want to align everything to the center. Okay, we're going to add a background. Actually, no, you know what we'll do is we'll use the BG dark on the footer. Wait a minute. Nope, we're not going to do that because we want it to be a little lighter than the BG dark. So we actually will add a background. Let's do 444, which is a shade lighter. Okay, so let's make the color white. And let's add padding all around, 20 pixels. Let's save that. Check it out. Okay, let's see. Why isn't there padding? Oh, you know what it is? Since these three have been floated, we need to actually clear that float. So let's go up to where our utility classes are. We'll go under the last background here and do CLR. And let's say float, I'm sorry, not float, clear, both. And then go back to our HTML, and right above the footer, let's put in a class of CLR and save. And now you can see that it's pushed down. And that's, again, that's another thing that just really sucks about using floats over CSS Grid or Flexbox is this clearing stuff. That's why I forget. All right, so our home page looks done. And again, it's not completely responsive. I mean, it's somewhat responsive as far as having the max width, like the text doesn't go out of the page or anything like that. But there are some things I would add, and I would add some media queries, which we're going to talk about later on. But for now, I think that our home page is pretty good. So in the next video, we're going to move on to the About page, which isn't too bad. We're just going to have some text, a rounded image, some testimonials. Then we'll move on to the Contact page, and we should be all set. And then I'll show you how we can actually deploy this website to the internet.